Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Vangelis and I'm an application manager for Libis. I work for Alma and this is the last tutorial video for Spinomatic. In this video I'm going to showcase to you how you can print barcode labels, but let me just remind you again that those videos that you see, those tutorials and those examples that you see in the videos are indicative, which means that templates and layouts differ a lot, not only from one institution to another, but also from use case to another, from one printer to another. So for example, you might have a lot of use cases within your institution, and compiling those cases is something that we'll look into. So no worries, I'm going to help you with that, but the truth is that the label contents change from one institution to another, from one use case to another. So what you want to display, you want to display a barcode, or you want to display um, a call number and so on. In this case, we know that you want to display a barcode and this is very definitive, but for the layout, we know that if you use a different printer, probably you're going to have to change the dimensions of the label. Anyway, let's then jump immediately on the example. So the use case, we have the same use case with the spine label. So the book from Samuel van Hoogstraten from the KU Leuven libraries, and we want to print out the barcode for this physical item. So what do we need to do? We need to first create a template and a layout specifically for the barcodes. And how can we do that? By accessing the Cloud App Center and accessing Spinomatic. We can see here that we have three options to select items because we did already a physical item search based on the barcode. We can already check our option, the physical item that we want to print the label for. But let's just first access the configurations either by this button or by the wrench key in the three dots menu. I expand my view to have better control over what I see on my screen, and I have already created a barcode template for you. For the sake of time, I'm just going to go through it and explain to you. So what I did practically is that I added the barcode field from the available Alma fields. So I just added the barcode field, and then what I did is that I applied some formatting based on this ribbon. So I used the Align Center option. I applied the Arial font type, and I wanted to be I wanted the font size to be a little bit big, so 24 in this case. I didn't apply any text color, I didn't create any table. So this is what I did so far. I just added a new field, added the barcode field, I selected it, I align it in the center, then I want to display it right in the middle of my label that is going to be printed. So I just click enter to add a line break here, and I click on it again, and I apply the Arial font type, and then I just want a bigger font. So these are some specific options that you have. So these are limited, but 24 is just fine for me for now. And then what I need to do is to apply some extra formatting. So in the other options section, I click on the barcode other options. By default, the show as barcode option is not selected, so I clicked on show as barcode. If I wouldn't do so, only the barcode value would be displayed. So on my label, I would only have the KUL 977949 value displayed and not the barcode itself. For this specific example, I assigned this specific width, so we know that the width in this case is 1.3 and the barcode height is 48. In almost all LibisNet partners, the barcode encoding that you should apply in this case is the code 39 encoding. So I click in this menu and then I choose the code 39, and then, and this is something that we need some extra explanation, I need to append a checksum. In this case, we have modulo 43. So what does this checksum do? Practically, it adds an extra digit for data integrity, for safety, for security, if you want to say so, at the end of the sequence of your barcode. So if you wouldn't append the checksum, probably because your scanners are already programmed to recognize the checksum at the end of the barcode sequence. If you would like to scan this specific barcode that we're going to print, it wouldn't work. So I strongly suggest to you to choose the modulo 43 checksum. As soon as I was ready, and as soon as I'm ready now with my template, I click on Save. And then I click on the layouts. As in the previous cases, I would have to create, so to add a new layout, but in this case we have one that is already created for the sake of time, as I said. So it's the barcode layout. I choose the barcode layout, I click on it. You can see that the measurement units are set to centimeters to have better perception of the measurement units. The orientation is set to portrait. I know that in this case it might be more logical to choose the landscape based on your options, but in the case of the barcode, I can definitely say to you that choosing the orientation landscape, it will mess up your layout. So if you would like to change the orientation, I would advise you to do it through your printer's configurations. Then we have the page characteristics, like the page width, I leave it as it is default. The top margin and the left margin, I always set it to 0.1 to have better control over it. We have the labels per page. I always set it to 1 because the devices print one label per time. And then we have the specific label characteristics. So the horizontal gap, I always set it to 0.1. The vertical gap, 0.1 steadily. We have the left padding. So the more the left padding, the higher the value in the left padding section, the more on the left your barcode is going to appear. Here I set it to 0, or you can just set it to blank, it's the same. And the most important one, the label width and the labeled height. So I know that usually for the barcode labels, they need to be wide, extra wide, so the label width is usually 8 in this case. This is based on the TLP2844 printer, but in our case, we also have the example of Zebra GX420T. So this is more or less, these are more or less the settings that you would use. And then, as I said, you will need to adjust and go through the trial error process and see what fits. And then I see my preview, so I can see that indeed my label content, so my barcode is displayed in the middle of my label, and our label is 8 centimeters wide and 3 centimeters high. So as soon as I'm good with my layout settings, I click Save, and then I go back. I perform a physical search again. So physical items, in this case based on the barcode, it can be also a keyword, but let's just be accurate and search based on the barcode. I click on it. Okay, now that I perform my physical item search, one cloud app is suggested for this page, and this is Spinomatic. Because we want to print a label for this physical item, we click on Spinomatic, we access it through the Cloud App Center, and then automatically the Select Items option is enabled because we did it based on a physical search. We click on this specific item that we want to print the label for, the barcode label. We click Next, then we choose the appropriate layout. So in this case it's the barcode layout, and then the appropriate template, so the barcode template, no offset. Then we choose the print grid lines option. So we enable this option to see how good our label contents fit on the label in the preview, and we click print labels. We actually see that our contents do not fit so well. So in this case, we need to go back and either decrease the font size or increase the barcode height, because as you can see from the grid lines, our barcode value doesn't fit in our label. So we press cancel. They were not printed successfully. We access again the configurations. So this is a good use case. I expand the view. So I will just decrease the size first, set to 18, save it, then go back again, click next, check if the layout and the template are the appropriate ones, click print. Yeah, in this case we can see that our contents fit well within the barcode. We can also see that there is a second page that is projected here. So in our printer settings we can define that. The destination is the Zebra printer GX420. By the way, we can also decrease even further the barcode size, and in the end it's going to be just right, fitting in one page. But this is just indicative, as I said. We make sure our settings are as we want them, so we can choose the layout. Here you could just choose the landscape layout. In this case it doesn't make sense, but I just want to say to you that if you need to print a barcode and you need specifically to change the orientation, I would advise you to do it through your printer settings. So let's put it portrait, and then we just click print. Were the labels printed successfully? Yes, because they were printed successfully, and start over. Or no, they were not successful, so the label that was printed doesn't actually correspond to the end result that I would like to have. So that was the last video. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can also contact me directly or through the team desk. Until the next time, just be safe. Bye bye.